Hey you guys, this is the second episode ever on this channel. My name is MJ if this is your first time here, and this is my dog Sansa. This video will be a bit lengthy, so I will hopefully be able to add sections at the bottom of the video so that way you can skip to the part that you want to know about. I will be talking about pest control today, which is a topic that I think most plant parents are going to be dealing with at least at some point in their plant journey. And I'm hoping that I can give you tips and tricks to hopefully help you overcome this requirement of plant keeping. I am not an expert. However, I am a very avid hobbyist, and I have done the research for the pests that I've dealt with, which were fungus gnats and thrips. Also dealt with spider mites of different sorts. If you have any questions, if you need more information, I will have links in the description to all the things and all the organizations that I'll be talking about. But if you leave a comment with a question, I can get back to you. And if you like planty content, you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel because I'll be exploring a multitude of planty things, and you're welcome to join me on my journey. You might not be a plant person, and that's okay, but you can share my video with somebody who is a plant person. And if you like today's video and the information that I'm giving you, then you can give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, then you can give me a thumbs down. It's all right. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. I started dealing with pests back in 2021 with fungus gnats. Fungus gnats were really bad. I did end up eradicating them. Moving past fungus gnats, you start to get into the more advanced pests. And those are thrips, scale, whiteflies, lots of scary bugs that end up destroying your plants because they literally suck the sap out of your plant. During my time researching how to do pest management, whenever I first started my collection, I found that there were multiple different ways to take care of bugs. There were manual / mechanical removal, there's chemical treatments, and there's also biological warfare. So manual mechanical removal is when you are physically wiping down the leaves with a microfiber towel, paper towel, whatever, whatsoever, where you're running your plants under a strong stream of water. So that could be your hose outside. That can also be your shower. And then you can also cut off leaves. So if you have a very heavy infestation, you can just go ahead and cut off the affected leaves. And that will dramatically reduce the infestation, but it is not guaranteed to eradicate the infestation. The pros for mechanical / manual pest removal is that it's easy for smaller plant collections. So if you have, like, say 1 to 5 plants, maybe 5 to 10, it's easy for you to take all of them over to the shower, especially if they're smaller and they can fit in your hands. But even if it's a bigger plant, maybe you can wipe it down more often than not. And when you wipe down leaves, you do want to make sure that you're wiping the underside and the overside of the leaf in order to disrupt any reproductive cycle. The cons for manual mechanical removal is that it's not so easy for big collections, and it doesn't kill the bugs at all the stages or at all locations on the plant. For example, thrips lay their eggs inside of the leaf. So if you are simply wiping down the leaf, you're going to be removing any larvae that have erupted from the leaf and any adults, but you're still going to have new thrips larvae that will emerge from the leaf within the next 2 to 3 days. So you would have to be on top of wiping down your leaves every 2 to 3 days if that's the method you wanted to go with. That's not realistic for somebody with as many plants as me, and most of the time thrips also can hide out in the soil, so you'd have to be replacing the soil. Whatever substrate that you have your plants in, you'd also have to be on top of getting in between crevices and stuff like that. So that's why some people turn to using chemical treatments. And chemical treatments can be used in conjunction with manual/mechanical removal. So you would most likely use a spray that you will spray on the leaves of your plants, and then you'll wipe down the top and the bottom of the leaf in order to apply the chemical to the plant and to hopefully successfully kill the bug. However, there are cons to using chemical treatments as well. With sprays specifically, if you have a big collection like mine, again, that's just not feasible to spray every single leaf on every single plant, top to bottom, and then wipe every single leaf on every single plant, top and bottom. That would take a lot of hours, and it already takes me a lot of hours to water my plants. Then you also have your systemics. It is a type of pesticide that you water your plant with, and the plant will soak it in through their roots, which will in turn cause their sap to be poison to any sap-sucking insects. So, for example, mealybugs, scale, thrips, whiteflies. However, they have a very big con. Systemics are poisonous to all insects, which includes pollinators, and it makes all parts of the plant poisonous, including flowers. So you cannot use systemics outside, which is why they are banned actually in other countries. So if you use a systemic, make sure you're using it on plants that native pollinators won't have access to, because if they do, then you risk actually killing a whole colony of bees or a lot of butterflies. That's one of the cons. The other con is that depending on the active ingredient in the systemic, you might end up increasing the fertility rate of spider mites. So I know for a fact there is a scientific study on imidacloride and the fertility rates on spider mites, and I can attest that it is very true, because when I first had thrips, I used imidacloride, but then I had an absolute explosion in spider mites afterwards. So those are some things to consider when it comes to using chemical means of pest removal. The last thing about pest control is biological warfare. So my favorite way to do pest control is biological warfare, which are predatory bugs, or also known as beneficial bugs. These are good bugs that eat your bad bugs. They are the literal predators of these pests. So it's like when you have a rat infestation, you buy a bunch of cats and you release a bunch of cats, and they take care of the rat/mice infestation, and they establish their own colony, and then you no longer have the issue. So that is the process that I'm going through right now. I am using and buying beneficial bugs, and I am applying them to my plants, and my plants are doing so well. I'm so excited. I will be making a plant collection tour video. Anyways, back to the beneficial bugs. So the pros of the beneficial bugs is that they live on your plants for a few weeks, eating pests 24/7 while they live there. So it is a very consistent, very reliable treatment option, and it's not very time consuming on the part of the plant owner, because all you have to do is prepare the plant, which is watering and wiping them down, and then applying the bugs. They can establish colonies if conditions are favorable. So if you have plants that are throwing a lot of flowers or inflorescences, there are a lot of beneficial bugs that will be able to live off of the pollen. There's also bugs that will eat, only protein. So once the protein source runs out, aka the pests, once the pests are eradicated, then unfortunately those guys will die out. But that's okay because that means they did their job. They're also microscopic. So a lot of people think about ladybugs or praying mantids whenever they think about beneficial bugs, but beneficial bugs are actually very, very small and are about the same size of your pest. So you can't really see them unless you get really up close and personal with your plant. Now, if you are doing that, you'll be able to see that the good bugs move a lot faster than the bad bugs. Bad bugs actually stay very slow moving versus the good bugs are very avidly searching for food. These guys can also be used outside because depending on the company that you use, you will be receiving native populations of beneficial bugs. So that means bugs that are native to our ecosystem. Green lacewings, you can find them outside. They lay their eggs at the end of a hair that they place on the underside of leaves or sometimes on the side of buildings. So those are lacewing eggs. Those are good guys, and they are native to North America. And a lot of the mites also are native to North America. So you don't have to worry about endangering any native populations of pollinators. You don't have to worry about damaging the ecosystem in general because these guys are okay and they're actually very beneficial for use in outside spaces as well. The only con that I can say is that they are kind of expensive, and they're only expensive because they are a live critter, so they do require overnight shipping. It costs $60 to overnight ship them to me versus the bugs that I got themselves cost about $90. You don't have to do applications, but every 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, for about 3 to 4 times. And then once you finish your third or fourth application, depending on how severe your infestation might have been, or how you want to proceed, you would simply buy the bugs every 3 to 4 months after that point. So initially you start off once a month for 4 months, and then you can taper down to every 4 months. Now, I found a organization called the DMV Beneficials, and they actually promote nationwide chapters of beneficial groups, because by ordering in a group, you can get a reduced overnight shipping cost, because multiple people will be paying the shipping and will be receiving bugs in the order, versus me only by myself paying $60 for overnight shipping. That could be split between 3 people, and it could be $120, and that's like $40 per person. So it's not as extreme. It is a kind of a way to reduce the cost. And if you're interested in that, I'm going to have a link down below with their website, where you can find an Instagram link, you can find their Facebook, you can find so much information on there. They also have information on pests. They have pictures of plants that have been affected by pests. They also have pictures and information on the beneficials themselves. They have multiple points of contact, and they also have information on chapters located around the United States specifically. So if you're interested in getting into beneficial bugs, go ahead, go down to the description and click on that link. Now, Evergreen Growers is the lab, I guess it's a lab, that produces and maintains colonies of these different bugs. They partner with DMV groups to give a discounted rate and to send them out to whoever placed the order. So you're also more than welcome to go to their website and find out information on the pests and the beneficials themselves as well. They also have contact information. I don't think they have social media, or they're not that active on social media, but you can definitely send them an email. You can definitely give them a phone call during their hours of operation and get information on the bugs directly from them as well, or order directly from them as well, if that's what you want. If you don't want to join a group, there's not a group around you, then you can definitely reach out to them directly. My method is bonide systemic granules and the beneficial bugs. I did recently find out that the bonide is not good for lacewing larvae. So I haven't really seen their presence amongst my plants. When it comes to applying your beneficials, you want to make sure that you're watering your plants first, and you're also wiping down their leaves. And I only really wipe down any leaves that might have dust on them, since my plants do live in high humidity containers, or cabinets like this. I don't really have to worry about dust. The only thing I have to wipe off of my plants is residual from my previous application. I do have some plants that are still living out in the ambient humidity. Those guys do need a leaf wipe. However, if I do see the population of cucumaris mites on the leaf, I don't generally wipe it down, as to not remove a colony that's already been established on my plants. So we are going to unbox my order from Evergreen Growers. It comes in a foil box. This is what it looks like on the inside. Here is the first thing, which is a bag of Stratiolaelaps semitis soil mites. These guys live in the soil, and they eat fungus, gnats, thrips, and other small soil organisms. and this is a bag of a minimum 12,500 predatory mites at all stages. So what I'll do is I'll distribute the peat around the root zone of the plants. On their website, you can find the information page for your bugs and go ahead and do the calculation. So I use a tablespoon and I go around to all of my tanks, to all of my plants, and I apply it to my plants. I did order 2 baggies of this. That's what I did last time. My bigger plants will definitely get a bigger dose versus my smaller plants will not. So these are the rapid release cucumeris, and these guys are actually already going to be crawling on the outside of the baggie. So they come in these sachets, and what I do is I cut open a corner and I sprinkle that on top of the foliage of all of my plants, so that way they can get a nice dosage of cucumeris. And like I said, those are the bugs that I have actually still found crawling around on some of my plants that are in my tanks, which is really nice because that means that conditions are favorable enough that they survive in my tanks. So it's 5 packs of those. And then the grand finale are my lacewing larvae. Oh no, some of them got out. These are a generalist predator, so that means that they are very happy eating whatever they can get their little claws on. They will cannibalize and eat each other, which is why I wanted them to come in this delivery method instead of the other delivery method that I usually get, which is a bottle. So when they come in the bottle, they have free reign and can actually just eat each other. So I'm hoping that by keeping them separate, I can prevent them from eating each other. And they will bite you if you leave them on your skin too much. They're very hungry. They're also very thirsty. So I'm gonna just go ahead and throw this guy on my plant real quick. He's on my fingernail. So that's how tiny they are. Now the way that this works is it's a thin film with a cardboard structure and then another film on the other side. So what you would do is you start to peel off the edge of the film, and then you smack the back of it on top of your plants, so that way they are falling onto your plants. They're so cute though. They're my cute little lions. These guys are really good for aphids. I think they call them aphid lions. I think these guys are called aphid lions. So you can totally buy a bunch of these, release them in your garden wherever you have the aphid problem, and just let them go to town. But yes, so those are the different bugs that I have. Hey guys, it is the next day actually. I was diagnosed with COVID, so I'm going to quickly record a little example so we can add some bugs to some of the plants. What we're going to do now is simply apply the bugs to the plants that I have in these containers. These guys were actually cuttings, and they are now big enough to where they can actually think about moving into the big tanks. This is a 1 tablespoon measurement specifically for the Stratiolaelaps, and you just go ahead and tear this open. These guys look like little brown mites, and you may be able to see them crawling around in the bag, but you open it and then make sure that it's pretty airy, and then I just kind of mix them a little bit, or agitate them a little bit. And these guys live in the soil, as I keep saying, soil mites. So what I'll do is I'll take a scoop, and depending on the size of the pot, I might do half, or in this case, I'll do the whole thing. But you want to apply it at the base of the plant, so that way they can find the roots. So I will actually apply to all of the pots in here. This is part of that time-consuming process that I was telling you, is making sure that all of the plants get some. If I think that it's really necessary inside of the container that they all get it, then they'll all get it. But if only a couple of the plants in there show signs of having any damage, or they just haven't been treated yet, then those are the ones that I'll choose to put the bugs on. So yeah. And for that one, I only did half because it was half the size, and I'll do the other half on another small plant. Doing it in this way makes sure that you're getting good bang for your buck, in the sense of making sure that a lot of your plants are getting coverage, but also you're not wasting any of the product. They were all watered yesterday. Because they also live in high humidity environments, the bugs will be able to drink that water that's already floating around in here. Yep. And if you can hear the thunder, it is getting ready to pour outside. When I'm done applying to every single plant in this container, I go ahead and close it up, because they will crawl up the plastic and they will crawl out. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do my rapid release. These guys will actually eat any thrips larvae. I just like to take off the corner. You can see here on the back, those are actually two little piles of cucumeris that have made their home. You want to actually get this on top of the foliage, because these guys are leaf mites. Yes, if your plant is in a high humidity container like mine, it's very possible that it will mold on top of the leaf. However, I have found that I am able to very easily wipe off any moldy bits that are still on it. So like here, it's kind of like a sawdust that in a high humidity environment, it'll go ahead and mold up, but it won't cause any damage, and you'll actually be able to remove it later. Okay, so now I'm going to work on my lacewing larvae. I experimented and went ahead and sprayed water on the backside. I used a mister, so that way it would mist this side, so that way the little buggers could go ahead and get a drink. But you want to peel it like that, and then that starts exposing the hex cells. So there's one that's exposed. Here's 2, 3. With them being exposed like this, what I can do is I can hold this back, and then you just tap them on. I think they did make it out, because oh yeah, there they go. Awesome. So that's it for this. There's about 3 to 4 now that live in this container, which should be enough to take care of any bugs if there are any in here. Ideally, before you apply the bugs, you do want to mist, but I failed to do that beforehand, so I'm going to do that now real quick. Just give it a very light, very far away water. And there you have it. This container is now pest applied. Give me a subscribe so you can see more of my dog being a crackhead. Okay, excuse me.